All right, hi. Welcome to 1.2.3. Here we go. Remember to get yourself ready. Look through these. See if you can remember the answers. I'm not necessarily going to go over those because those are available for you to look at on Schoology. But the more you can actively recall things and then check to see if you're right without looking at the answers, the more you're going to learn. Remember, you should breathe. You should take some time to focus. This was our, what that does there. This idea of character and belonging, focusing on goals. Those were the kind of the commitments we had this day. Explanations are not excuses. Always good to remember that. Here are some successful notebooks for some people who might be struggling and they want to see what one looks like. Someone's even writing down like the quotes that we do. Labeling their anchor times, their things that are really making it very nice. This person is circling stuff so you can see the different items. It makes it very visually much simpler for me to kind of look through. Here's some other ways. Only one thing wrong here, right? This IDK. We should never put I don't know down. A nice little list of things. This is almost like indentations and looking at things. Really well done. Another with colors kind of to highlight things. So those are things to think about as you go. Our things to ponder today. What are the go and no-go circuits in our brain? How we use the progress tracker in our class? And what is a concept map? So pause and answer those questions, and I'm going to get going in 3, 2, 1. These are two electrical circuits. Oops. One is closed and one is open. When a circuit is closed, like a light bulb, then it's on, so that light bulb turns on. And when you open that circuit and the power stops going through, that light is off. So these are electrical circuits, and we can think about these. There's two circuits that are like this inside of our brain. One is called the go circuit, and that's kind of what we're born into. We're born going. So a go circuit means like I have the impulse, and then I do it. I don't stop about it. I don't think about it. I just impulse and go. So you think about babies, toddlers. These are all young humans who really, they feel an impulse and they just do it. And that's how kind of human history was for a long time. We had an impulse and we just did it. We just listened to it. But now, we've created laws and expectations and really want to get to a place where we're controlling ourselves. And that was what introduced that idea of a no-go circuit. I'm curious if my camera keeps moving, like when I move it, or if it's just going to be in one place. So we'll see what happens. Sorry, allergies. So this no-go. So no-go is like I have the impulse and I want to do it, but then I don't let myself do it. And so this is a really important concept to understand for all of us. That we all get the impulse to do stuff, every single one of us, and the impulse is fine. But sometimes we need to stop the impulse, and that's this no-go. So this is the beauty of being a human's ability to develop. So, for example, I see a cookie. My impulse is to eat it. I just eat it, right? No-go would be seeing the cookie and then like thinking about it. So I just pause for a moment. I don't eat the cookie. I think about it. Is there a better thing to eat? Am I just about to have dinner? Things like that. So, or even just like you have the cookie there, that impulse, and then you wait a little bit. That's even no-go. So you wait a little bit longer to eat it. All of this stuff is. Sometimes like in class we think of something funny or a friend's trying to be funny, and so no-go is just laughing. You see the funny thing and just laugh. You get the impulse to laugh, you just laugh. No-go is seeing the funny thing and going, you know what, this is not the time. I'm going to ask my friends to stop doing it. I'm just going to ignore it. This is not the time to laugh. Because there's sometimes you need to be serious, right? Because life is really, for me, what I like. I heard someone say this one time. It's like I love to be silly until it's time to be serious. So there are those times. There's times to be silly and there's times to be serious. If I know the answer to something, I blurt it out. That's no-go, or that's go. Sorry, this idea. I have the impulse. I have the answer. I want to share it. I just do it. No-go is letting people have turns. Understanding. I don't want to blurt the answer out because that ruins the learning process for other people. What's cool is all this stuff can be developed. We can get stronger in our no-go circuit even just by pausing a couple seconds. Even like doing different stuff. If you think about your life and like when you're just on autopilot and you're just going, Try to get into a place where you can kind of be present and stop. Because even like phones and technology is really dangerous with that, because it's just designed for us just to keep going. And we like doing that. We like going. But it's really good for us to no-go. Like I have some silly examples. They're not silly, but like I untie my shoes before I take them off. I used to just kick them off, and then I would untie them later. But now I stop and I sit and I untie my shoes. Every time I get my battery charger for my computer, I wrap up the cord so I don't just shove it in there. So it's all about like kind of being present and thinking about things and going that route. That is your no-go. Take a moment to reflect and answer those questions. I'm going to move on here. All right, so now we're going to be, you should have this answer to your first pondering there. They allow go and control. And this is another thing. I look at some people's ponderings, and sometimes they're like, I learned about the go and no-go circuits. Okay, but that's not really going to help you later. It's your chance to explain. So this would be an explanation. They allow go and control impulses. They allow and control impulses. That's an explanation of what they are. Saying, I learned about the go and no-go circuits, that doesn't really help you later. How will we use the progress tracker in our class? So that's what we're about to look at next. This is going to be a very important page for you. You're going to want to freeze this so you can copy this down and answer this. But I want to show you a notebook first so that you can kind of get yourself where you need to be. So in your notebook, you should have a table of contents with our lessons written on there. Now, when we set up our table of contents, I had asked you to skip, so one page is table of contents, and then to skip 3 pages, 1, 2, 3, and then start your unit. If you followed those instructions, this is where you're going to make your progress tracker. Okay, and your progress tracker is this. Why do we sometimes, this little thing here. Okay, so if that's where you are and you have that place, then you're going to write down this question. Why do we sometimes see different things when looking at the same object? And then you're going to make this T-chart underneath, question/lesson number. What I figured out, you're going to write this question down. What happens when we change the light? That was session 2, this idea about I have, it switches, right? The light switches, or it's on in both, off in both. So what happens? What have you figured out about that? You can write, draw, whatever explanation you want to come up with that. And then you're also going to keep track of your big thing. So what did you do on the big thing number 1? Did you get a 1, 2, 3, or 4? How many questions did you get correct? Now, if you have your table of contents and you made a slight mistake, and when you go here you have session 1.4 or 1.21 or any session work here, then you're going to count out 10 pages. 1, 2, 3, and there's probably you're going to have work there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then you're going to write your progress tracker here. Okay, and then you're going to copy all this stuff here. So you want to pause the film or this right now. Hold on. And so you're going to do the first page after your table of contents or 10 pages later, and you're going to copy this down and answer it. And then come back because there's more to do on the next thing. So now you need to go back to where you had 1.23, where you started to do your ponderings and you did your first anchor. And now I want you to write down some ideas about the following. What if we took the one-way mirror from our box, we took out the one-way mirror, and we put in a mirror? What would happen? Then we turn the lights on. What do you think would go on? So if we replaced the one-way mirror with a mirror, and we had the lights on and off, what do you think you would see? So you do that for a mirror. You're also going to think, what about a window? What if we replace that mirror and the one-way mirror, and we put a window in there? What would happen when the lights are on, off, all that stuff? And then finally, how do you think we could do that in class? What would we need to do? So you're going to answer those 3 questions. What would happen if we replaced it with the one-way mirror with a mirror, the one-way mirror with a window, and how would we go about investigating that? And when you're done with that, then we're going to anchor one more time, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So I'm going to move on. Be sure to pause. do all this work, think about your thinking, and then we're going to move on in 3, 2, 1. So right now you should be able to have a good answer for this, how we use the progress tracker in our class, keep track of our big thing scores and our big learning unit. And now we're going to look at a concept map. We want that. All right, so what is a concept map? A concept map is a really huge, really high leverage strategy. So high leverage means if you try it, it improves a lot of things. So it's a really important strategy for you to use to help with your learning and your understanding of any content, any concept that you could possibly want to do. So this is not just for science. Some people consider this a visual learning adventure. So you can be into it as much as you want. Okay, so there's no limit to it. And these are some reasons why I want to do a concept map. It improves our brain. Like the amount of thinking that goes into a concept map will just make you stronger. It's kind of like a puzzle. So if you like puzzles, if you like trying to think through things that are a little complicated, concept maps are for you. And I mean, if I'm going to go back to that, that's why puzzles are good. Puzzles are really good for you. If you've never been into puzzles before, give those a shot as well. That helps your thinking and everything. It improves pretty much everything in your brain. Your ability to focus, your ability to learn, your ability to remember stuff, all of it. So it's really good for us to try. And you get to be creative. There's no like right or wrong in here. There's just thinking and trying. So you might get things quote unquote wrong, but you'll understand that later and fix it. And really, it's all good. Okay, as long as you think and you have reasons and explanations as to why you're doing what you're doing, then it's a good thing. What has to be in a concept map? Concept map has to have words and terms, has to have lines or arrows, has to have linking terms. So these are words that link two terms together, and it has to have an explanation at the end of it. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I have some information about the I down here. Oops. On this piece of paper. I'll move this down here. And so I'm going to now turn this into a concept map. So these are my terms. These are my words. Okay, what's cool about this is like you can kind of go a lot of different places. We've talked about a ton of stuff in class. You could even have like character counts, the school's mission and vision, and really just trying to think, how can I connect those things? That's awesome. That's great. But right now I'm going to try and make it kind of straightforward and basic. If I have a term, I want to put a rectangle, like a box, a circle, okay, some sort of thing around it, all right, to kind of show that this is a term. Okay, so that's one thing. I got my terms, okay, and now I need to put down my arrows. So the way I want to think about this is I want to think about how am I going to connect. So I have kind of a line, right, because this connects it, but the arrow shows which way I'm connecting it. So am I connecting parts to the I, or am I connecting the I to parts? Well, I've decided to connect the I's to the parts, so I'm going to put my arrow on this end. And now I need to have that linking term or linking word. So if I think about this as a sentence, the I parts. Well, the I has parts. So that's my linking term. The I has parts. Cool. What parts does it have? Well, we have these guys right here. We have the pupil, the iris, the lens, the cornea, the retina. Now, which way do I want these arrows? Do I want to go to the parts or the So I'm going to go retina is, cornea is, lens is, iris is, pupil is. So now I have this group kind of all starting to get organized, but I have this word light up here. The pupil does something with light, and then that light goes into the eye. So now I want to explain the pupil. So the pupil allows light, and light goes into the eye. So now a pupil allows light, it's into the eye. And then if I was thinking about, we also talked about artificial and natural. So these are types of light, right? So maybe this is a type. This is a type of light. Okay, so now I have different things. So this is a totally different topic than down here, and that's fine. Now coming over here, the retina, that has cells. What were those cells? One were, okay, no, maybe I don't want to do that. So I have the rods, and then the cones, and then they are cells. The rods are cells, and the cells are microscopic, and there were other stuff too. There was atoms, right? Atoms are microscopic. So see, you can just play around with this to your heart's content, have fun. It doesn't necessarily need to be pretty. If we're going to publish it, then I would want to maybe do this a little better than I did. But I wanted to kind of give you a quick understanding of what that concept map is. Your job now is to kind of work on one. You could do that inside of your notebook. Tomorrow's lesson, if you missed that as well, I gave kids a lot of time to work on a big concept map, and maybe I made it too big. I had all the topics of the classroom up there. Maybe I should have, but to minimize it a little bit. But really, just think about what have we learned so far this year. You can go back into some of the slideshows that I have out there. What are all those different topics we've been talking about, and have that there. So at this point, I think we're into our last anchor time. So pause. And anchor that about what is a concept map and why you would want to use one. And I'm going to move on to the mini thing here in 3, 2, and 1. Oh, wait, here. A way to organize our learning visually, finding connections and showing understanding. That's the concept map. Here we go. Which brain circuit helps us to control our impulses? 3, 2, 1. That would be the no-go. Which brain circuit do we normally want or like to be in? 3, 2, 1. The go. Where will you keep track of your big thing scores and your big learning? 3, 2. Your progress tracker. What are 3 reasons you should create concept maps? 3, 2, 1. There's a bunch. These are many. All of these are fine. And what are the mandatory parts of a concept map? 3, 2. It'd be whale. Words, arrows, linking verbs, or words and explanations. I did not do an explanation on this. That would be the last step. I would then want to do a paragraph. The I has part and then I kind of talk about the whole thing. And I gave out some sentence stems and paragraph stems in class to help us with that. Alrighty.